anytime you accept a law enforcement job and the job requirements are to attack, raid, arrest people for things that you don't think should be illegal, you're a moral prostitute. And it's actually, I can't think of anything else that is more immoral than to sell your violence.
Your own morals.
Yeah,
Are you saying the person enforcing it? Are you saying the person's job is to enforce it?
I agree with you, Powder Dusty, on this. I totally agree with you on this. I've never taken an order, and this is why I've always had a fight with chain of command, because if there was ever a question and I had questions, they hated me. The chain of command hated because I literally debated against shit that I thought was immoral. I didn't want to do this. And they considered me a non-resource because they couldn't go to me because I wasn't a yes man. And this pisses people off in this industry because it runs into what you're talking about, this philosophical quandary of, I don't want to do this. It goes against my belief system, but I'm going to get paid to do something I don't want to do. I have never done this. Thankfully, I could sleep at night and look at myself in the mirror, but I see people do this all the time. And I have the same aspect of looking at this perception wise, that these people are just shit. And it makes you trust people less, people that I've worked with that do this. I agree.
Can I kind of give a counterpoint? Like, not trying to be a contrarian, but just to...
You're going to be a contrarian, but you're saying nice things. Okay, go ahead.
Not to be a cunt, to be a cunt.
Basically, here's the thing. So imagine if it is a perfect society, right? If it's a perfect society, the ethical standard is basically established upon everybody's individual morals kind of coming together. And whether you have that most common overlap or what you decide to vote on, a majority vote wins. That's what establishes the laws, and that's what kind of over time establishes whatever kind of understanding that you have of a system of ethics for that society.
Theoretically, sure.
Yeah, theoretically. So I'm saying that's why I said, like, let's imagine if you have this kind of perfect society where that happens. And if that happens...
That's not perfect already. A perfect society, the majority wouldn't be allowed to dictate what you taking another man's money and shit. That'd be more perfect to me, but go ahead.
Well, I meant perfect in the sense of establishing its laws that way based on...
Majority, that's a horrible idea. That's what we have now.
Tyranny of majority. To give an example
than what,
of like, I think what Flo was talking about, right?
Well, to take it to the point that I was trying to make based on what Flo said, to give the counterpoint, if you exist in this society where you have a system of laws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have laws which, from your perspective, because some of them may differ from the moral opinions that you have, you might think just because it's legal doesn't make it right. And I disagree with this, right? With this particular law, I think that that's an amoral law or an immoral law, right? Now, you might, like you said, if you enforce it, you're basically kind of prostituting your beliefs, right?
Right.
And for example, like, let's say,
no examples. Get your point.
Can you name an amoral law, though?
I've heard how long you're. Yes, I can. But
no, I'm just saying, like, if you, for example, think like, okay, we need to start rounding people up, right? This is.
We don't need an example.
Sorry,
we don't need an example. I've heard how long.
Yeah, no, okay. So what? The only difference I'm saying is that, for example, might think. No, I'm not giving an example in that sense. I'm just saying that if it's a law that you disagree with and you think that's morally wrong, fair enough. But it could be, for example, something that you think you disagree with, but how do you know that your moral judgment in that system is correct? Maybe it's something that you have not got a good moral opinion on. And in that sense, if you're always thinking that you're the moral paragon here, you're going to be disagreeing with laws that you think, no, that's not right. That's not right. You might be one of those weirdos who think you need to have...
You're the moral agent. So we're only dealing with your moral actions.
Yeah, to steal man Flo's position, it's like, irregardless whether that's actually moral or immoral, within your own internal mind, that is a conflict that you are going to have to deal with or confront in terms of your life. And that's like the definition.
Yeah, but you could, like we spoke about, Teriak, you could be somebody who's wise enough to realize that you don't know everything. You also could be somebody who's wise enough to realize that maybe you're not going to be perfect in every single moral judgment. So what you could be doing is you could be somebody that's saying, I'm putting my faith in this higher power, right?
A man. In
And
this
You
case,
don't have access to the mind of God, hypothetically. Let's just say
wait.
God's
Are we
there
talking
and
about
God
giving
determines
authority to
morals.
God? I thought he was
Let's
talking
just
about
say that God's there
legislation.
and God determines morals. You don't have access to that. You need to recognize
I would
that.
say the logo.
We're talking about moral
personally.
action. You're a moral agent. You're responsible for your own behaviors. You
Mhm.
have to
Correct.
determine for yourself what you think is best.
Yeah.
If you outsource that, you're still making a moral decision to not think for yourself. You're basically deciding to sell your morality to the highest bidder or to popular opinion. Either way, you can't escape the paradigm in which you have to make a moral decision for your own moral actions.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
I
like,
understand
from
what he's talking about.
Nietzsche-
He's talking about conditional morality, basically.
No, what he's talking about, like in terms of Nietzsche's position, is like people do this shit all the time. They will do immoral shit, even though they say they have this moral perspective,
Still conditional
and they
morality.
literally lie to themselves. They're literally living in an illusion.
Well,
They're delusional.
Martae, morality is
Right.
conditional, and yeah, I think that even the Bible agrees with me in that. That's why "Thou shalt not murder" is the commandment instead of "Thou shalt not kill." Murder is subjectively applied killing.
You're talking about an externality as far as make free will. That's what
Well,
you're
let
referring.
me give you an example, Martha. Right, there was this video like a while back, I think like half a year ago or some shit, like where a sheriff detective walked into a judge's office, took out the pistol, pop, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? This guy loses his mind." But it
I
came
saw
out that this judge, he was guilty. He was like literally running a brothel. So in terms of like morality, this guy's literally perverting, you know, like the literally in terms of the aspect of justice. Because you can't just say it's like, oh, we should just prosecute him, because it's like this is one judge, could be all of them.
So, Martae,
So
are
is
you
this-
saying
is-
you've never enforced a law that you've disagreed with?
No, not to my knowledge.
Have you arrested people for drugs?
Yeah, it's happened. It's happened before. My first job with PD. Yeah.
You agree with all that?
So we have to understand that there's like unknowns about this. So due process means like we don't know the whole picture. There's an investigation that happens. So I would agree with that. The process of holding somebody until we get more information. I agree on that.
But let's not act like the process isn't the punishment. You've been on the offensive end. I've been on the defensive end. Even if things get dropped, the process is the punishment.
That depends though, because how do you have a process without calling it a punishment? What would you replace that with if we don't have that? The holding somebody until we get further.
What would I replace it? What would I replace it with? Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I can speak because every case is different, right? So I can just speak anecdotally and use my case as an example. For one, you could have law enforcement. First and foremost, the crux of this is you could only have laws where there are actual victims. When we're talking about drug laws, is it a bad decision? Yes. But people are allowed to make bad decisions. And people are allowed to do drugs. People are allowed to do the worst drug, alcohol. So the arbitrary distinction of whatever illegal drug you want to choose, that criminalizing that is an attack on individuals' free will, which was given to us by God. And it is I mean, it's just unjustified. It's, in my opinion, a human rights violation.
What about like
don't think it is.
the other people? You're saying that there's like no victim in it, right?
Yes.
So you don't think that other people are going to get affected by you having a drug
I
habit?
think other people are affected by people driving cars. I think other people are affected by
And we regulate that, right?
All sorts of things. A
But
voluntary
that's regulated.
transaction.
Like if you're a reckless driver, you're going to have your license taken away.
All sorts of things have the potential to impact other people. But as far as the
Yeah, and I'm
transaction
saying
we're talking about,
we regulate those things to protect society, right?
oh, we definitely don't regulate all things.
Not everything. No.
Right.
No. But
we
as
do
much,
regulate
like,
those. We do regulate things. We regulate alcohol, right? Things are regulated, but the
I'm not
entire
sure we
management, right?
regulate the swings at a school, whatever you call
If you got a few
regulation.
bolts in your garage, I'm not going to arrest you because it looks like you have the inputs to manufacture a vehicle.
Okay, but like explain the moral difference. Like, okay, so explain the moral difference of somebody becoming
The moral,
like an officer of the
victim
law.
crime is one in which there's no complainant or victim. Basically, everybody involved in the transaction is there willful or voluntarily.
Right. So if somebody calls up and says like somebody beat the shit out of me, took all my money, and then you find out that the person who did
like a motherfucker immediately.
What?
That would be a victim. Someone got beat up, that would be a victim.
Right.
Yeah, and then you find the person who did it, and the reason why they did it was to support their drug habit. Are you still going to call the drug habit a victimless crime?
Yes. Yeah. No, beating somebody up is the crime with a victim, and it's already illegal.
Yeah, the guy had 27 days in a row before it. There was no victim.
Mm-hmm. So here's the question I'll ask. Somebody has fentanyl and they weren't prescribed this. It either had to have been stolen or given, or it basically they went around this legal system to get this. So there had to have been either theft tied to the drugs or some subversive message around, metric around the law. That's a crime that's associated with something that even if it would be smuggling, that there's no victim. There's a crime associated around this of stealing. They don't have a medical permit to do this. They're not a doctor, but they're self-administrating this. They're breaking. That's like 3 laws already.
So when you arrest somebody for having drugs, do you charge them with possession of stolen property?
No. There's actually a process they go through.
So you're describing a different crime, right?
Yeah.
Doing drugs, having drugs, there is no victim here. Buying drugs, selling drugs. These are all voluntary transactions, and you can say that they're irresponsible voluntary transactions, but most of us are sitting up here smoking, right?
And
never seen fentanyl.
Yeah.
Never seen fentanyl just given out on street corners. It had to have been stolen from somewhere. Like a crime had to have happened for you to be in possession of this drug.
Smuggling is
if you think about coke, if you think about coke, it's the same thing, right? No doctors prescribed coke or anything. So it originated. We're actually preventing crime from even happening for you to even get coke.
You're preventing absolutely not. You're creating a whole new class of criminals.
No, we're creating more of a deterrent. I would say that there's more of a deterrent from this because, it's like, well, if this person got caught, well, people have to keep up, right? This is the problem. And this is going to be a forever quandary that we come up with, right? Let's say that somebody gets caught for selling coke on this pier over here where ships are being docked, right? They get caught. That's that's added a deterrent, but it's only temporary because they're like, this is how we're not going to get caught by selling at the docks next time. We're going to find a raft to do it around this corner. So it's like one person's chasing another tail. So it's like something.
But the criminality that you're describing is smuggling, right? Which is also, I would say, in this case, a victimless crime. If you just legalize drugs, you would sink the bottom out of that. You would have addicts instead of inmates. You would have way less organized.
We have pharmaceutical companies like that. Like those are drugs. Those are legal drugs.
And in the 40 years in the war on drugs, substance use has increased.
I agree. The war on drugs is a trash war. It's not helped at all.
Your peer analogy. You say that you prevented a crime by saving this dude. It was temporary, but you saved someone. I say
I never said saved.
Okay.
What I was using a deterrent because you're not really saving people, but you're deterring a method of transit. People always find a different way of transit. That's all you're doing is just delaying a process, in my opinion.
I'm saying that rather than creating a deterrent, what you created was a victim. You actually hurt a motherfucker, jailed a motherfucker, and all of that. Because I can see an equal scenario where the guy got his drugs across, sold them, no one died, everybody at the party had fun. The only victim was created by you. If we're talking about what could have happened.
Well, we can't have allowance of like fentanyl in the street. I don't know if you guys ever know what I think it's called black fentanyl. I think it was in Chicago. It wasn't in Chicago, but basically, and this is really tinfoil hat stuff. It's a form of fentanyl that's sold to where it eliminates the user. Absolutely. So it sounds like some ABC or some pharmaceutical company created this. Why would you ever make a drug to kill eliminate the user? To me, that doesn't sound like it's a street drug that was created. Some pharmaceutical company created this.
Murder. That's
murder. For maybe. That's what I'm saying. From an urban area, this is where it's infiltrating. And I think it's probably maybe to eliminate a certain subsect of people. This is like
they don't have a lot of
very tinfoil hat, but it gets way off the case because you know what would prevent all those deaths is if people didn't have to go buy street fent. If heroin had been legal the whole time, you'd buy it from a store and nobody would have bothered to try to do that.
Let me phrase it this way. What right does the government have to stop me from just buying like any medication?
Well, it wouldn't be a right. So you're also talking about businesses. You're saying businesses that are copywriting things and saying, well, we own the monopoly on this. All you're doing is saying, hey, Coke, you should give your ingredient out to anybody else, and anybody can be a Coke manufacturer of this product.
Martae, what I'm saying is like literally like the drugs, the pills that you take are literally like synthesized from plants and shit like that. Cocaine is synthesized from a plant. I mean,
right.
So what right do you have? What right do you have to me to prevent me from just buying whatever drugs I want? But I'm like chemically sophisticated, and I'm one sec, and I'm a responsible drug user. Just remember that language that I'm using. I'm a responsible drug user. Like I'm doing a contribution to society, but I just like taking amphetamines or methamphetamines or whatever.
Can I answer
do wacky science?
I'm actually conceding.
What right have you to stop me from doing that?
I'm conceding we don't have rights, but these are made up. You're talking about a made up construct.
No.
What businesses are doing?
Stick with me here.
Yes,
can I explain something, Tarek? Can I explain something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So, like, first of all, like, because of a government's supposed purpose, right, to like help society run the way it should run, right?
Okay.
Number one, you could argue that the reason why it has that right is because you're not going to be a responsible drug user. Just think about what a drug is. Think about the fact that when you...
One sec, I get you. When
you take drugs...
Yeah, like because like what you're saying is like in terms of, like like you have to like look out for like people because it's mind altering, all this kind of stuff. But that's the same argument that people use to take their guns. Because if I'm a responsible drug user, why are you stopping me from doing it? Just because there's other people out there that aren't as, let's say, strong minded as I am, where I can handle, let's say, the shrooms or whatever. I mean, why?
Yeah,
why
you're gonna get? We know by the very nature of.
Teriak, there's a problem you're going to run into because with guns, there's training.
One sec. Without you going like try to do core and all this kind of stuff thrown away, what I'm highlighting to you, Martae, is you're all for the Second Amendment. Don't take my fucking guns away. Like in terms of the same logic.
How is using a gun going to affect your judgment?
One sec. The same logic can be applied. It's like, fuck you, don't take my drugs away.
Cars away because cars kill people too. But there's training with cars. We have a driver's license permit.
No. But wait. More importantly,
can you let Teriak like make its fucking point?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying?
I thought you made your point.
Yeah. What I'm fundamentally getting at is like and Joe Rogan's made this argument many times. Like when you look back to the art and style and stuff, like in the 60s, 70s, before they outright banned psychedelics. Art and all that shit was getting creative. It was even the design of cars, all this kind of shit. It was like way more creative than it is now, where it's stale. Everybody can agree, like they're literally building square buildings and shit. There's no creativity whatsoever in it. And part of that, even when you go back as far as the ancient Greeks, drugs was part of that, but they didn't have a distinction between medicinal and recreational. It was medicinal.
Yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying, but look at those facts. I just want to say, look at the designers, look at the artists, look at the musicians, and how many of them fucking killed themselves before they hit 35, right?
How many did?
It's like,
but I have a different.
How many? Yeah. Okay. The thing is that, like, are you going to be doing that though? Are you going to say we should sacrifice like 30% of our creatives or 30% of our population just for the sake of saying, oh, we're going to have a revival in creativity?
That's
like, is there not a better way of doing it?
You're speculating. You're assuming.
You're actually speculating, because the stuff that you're speculating on is you're saying these are the individual crimes. Hold up, one sec.
The issues you're describing are already illegal. It's already illegal to smash in a car window for drug money. It's already illegal to do things badly in a way that impact other people. So if you're a bad drug user because you can't manage yourself, the violations that you commit while you're high will do you in.
Right, but the problem that you're overlooking is every time you say these are the crimes involved with me possessing the drug, or these are the crimes involved with me sitting at home and consuming a drug that's, let's say, banned, right, a banned substance. You were saying earlier on to Marta, I think it was, you're saying, but like this is a victimless crime, this is a victimless crime, this is a victimless crime, and you're arguing that we should just allow drugs. What you're ignoring is that you're ignoring the fact that if you just allow it and say it's all going to be legal, then you think that those are the only crimes attached to drug use. They're not.
We're saying
you're ignoring the knock-on effects to other crimes, and then you're saying, but we're going to have that anyway. Yes, you're going to have that anyway, and laws exist to prevent those. The problem is, by legalizing drugs, you're going to massively increase the likelihood of those things happening. And you're just saying, well, we should just do that because those laws already exist. That's a
Yeah, but
stupid thing to argue for.
let me give you an example, right? Let's say we have some sort of like drug school or testing school and stuff. You go take a test, like a driver's license. Then you
That's
have a
where I
card
was
where it's
gonna
like you
go, but nobody
you
let
have
me
access
talk.
to everything. But if you
It's not a
like
good
go
argument.
out of whack, you go out of your mind and you binge or whatever, and you go out of your mind, whatever, then we take that card away from you. Would you be fine with that system?
I'm gonna drop this conversation and get in touch with Martae later because I ain't trying to have this panel shit pop up.
Well, look,
Seriously,
I
this is
don't-
not the conversation I want to have.
Yeah, I don't mind setting the fuck up and giving you and Martae the floor. Who's the host?
Oh,
here?
do you want?
Whose room are we in?
Gary,
No,
I-
I'm
I'm
asking
not trying to be a
you.
bitch about it. I know that. I
We'll-
apologize for being snippy and bitchy. I
we'll
just woke
do.
up.
No,
We'll
I'm
do.
all right.
We'll get some romantic music going. You know what I'm saying?
Now I feel like a fucking bitch and an asshole because I am being one.
We can have this later. We don't got to have this right now. I just wanted to ask Teriak a question. That's it. My question.
Come back,
I wanted to
Teriak.
ask-
I get it.
I just wanted to ask because we need training for guns, training for driver's licenses. How would you set up a system? What are we doing? I know what we're doing. So gay right now.
Don't worry. The music is not going to make you gay. If you weren't gay before, you'll still be not gay after.
I get it. Just feels like it's insinuating gay right now.
I know. He's taking a shot at me because I'm being a bitch and I deserve it.
I see that.
So where can I go to get training to be able to use drugs? That would be the answer.
Well, that's the question that I had because if you can be trained to, this music's kind of throwing me off. If you can get trained to be a drug user, and we had classes for this, you also create another conundrum because then you have doctors that can't like I would say a protected class of drugs that's no longer protected, no longer behind walls of protection or anything. But you could say that there's gun safes for guns, but it's like, I don't know how you would regulate the training for this. Would you offer new dispensary items for fentanyl?
It's
You
it's sort of an absurd question because we don't require training for alcohol. You're assumed to be able to consume alcohol responsibly until you're demonstrated not to. I think that that's what I would suggest. But regardless, even if I wanted to entertain the training angle, we have so much resources going into the war on drugs. We could set up training shops in every family room in the country if that's what we want.
Because it's so strong. I'll tell you what happened. I was with this guy, Officer Reza. He's part of the canine unit when we had it, and I walked into a room.
I hate canines, by the way. Fuck dogs.
And they're usually German Shepherds or Malinois. They're smaller dogs. American dogs are overfed. But anyways, and I got hit automatically in the face. It was, I don't know if it's airborne or whatever this is.
What?
Fentanyl.
Mhm.
I got hit, and it was like in the air. It was airborne. And then he went in the bathroom. We were just doing an inspection, and it's like we automatically got hit. I was hospitalized, and it's like it's hard to say. Well, there can't be training for something so powerful that even airborne dust particulates, you're hospitalized.
That stuff exists only because of the war on drugs. That's innovation forced out of necessity. If it weren't for that, there would.
Can you demonstrate how it's only forced out of necessity?
Yes, because heroin addicts want heroin. They don't want some new thing they've never heard of. Nobody wants to go through the trouble of developing a whole new molecule if they don't have to. And the time that when fentanyl hit the market was exactly when we pulled out of Afghanistan and the Taliban crushed the poppy fields. I can agree to that. It's purely a product of prohibition that we have fentanyl at all.
Well, my question is for something that does kill a lot, destroy a lot of people. I don't want to use certain language. That does destroy a lot of lives. I'm thinking there has to be a regulation. That's what I'm referring to. Alcohol is regulated.
That law enforcement doesn't destroy lives?
I'm not saying that it doesn't.
Because all that the prohibition by enforcing drug laws, all you're doing is taking this may fuck your life up to this now.
I'm saying if we allow, I'm granting this to you, Powder. I'm granting this. If we allowed this, how would you regulate this?
Just like alcohol. I would make every drug just like alcohol.
So you would say I go down to the Circle K 7-Eleven and just get a hit of Fent or my Fent pack or something like that?
Yep.
Then we have nothing to argue about.
The most harmful part,
a metric or a system you can come up with, yeah, why not? I have no argument against it because alcohol is a drug. That gets regulated. But if you could put this on the same level of those things, then I have no argument against that.
So you actually do agree with me that the war on drugs is immoral. Then, in that case, if you think I should be able to go to the corner store and buy whatever I want, just the same as it's alcohol, then why would
the caveat would be until you have a system that is safe and you don't have regulation, it's immoral. But I think that if you could regulate it like alcohol, because here's the thing though, I think that alcohol isn't immoral until you give it to kids under like 12 years old and things like that. That's the case of Fent.
You can't regulate something as long as it's illegal, right? That's the law enforcement is preventing that system from ever being developed.
No, like I said, I'm granting that to you. Let's say we legalize this, but then there's a regulation, right? A company comes out with a way to regulate this to where there's like a certain percentage that you get from a hit. It doesn't kill people. Yes, I could grant that all day long, but until then, it's immoral. That's what I'm saying.
So as a DEA agent or whatever, the DEA agent now is a cog in the machine that is preventing a better system from happening. The job of the DEA agent is to attack people who are doing things that are illegal, but have no victim, have no harm. I wouldn't say that we're the extension arm of the government. So what I would say is what's preventing that is you're talking about people that are paying into wolf packs, people that are passing laws, and those are the people that are preventing that. All we're doing is the will. Right, you're the one doing it. You're the stormtroopers.
Yeah. We aren't the ones creating these laws or passing them.
So does that hold up for, say, people who ran Auschwitz? It's the same exact argument. There's argument. You can make no legal or really respectable moral claim that I'm just doing my job. It's not my fault. I'm not responsible.
Remember what I said? If we could trace back to what I said was I've never done a job and I've refused things that I was told to do. So if I was at Auschwitz, see how consistent my logic could say? They'd say, put these people in this oven, put this person in this stove. And I'd say, nope, I'm not doing that, but I'm cleaning the floors.
But instead what they're saying is put this person in a box and take away the next 20 years of their life because they got high. And you say, okay.
I would say that I agree with that because it's illegal, because there isn't a metric to save lives. So let's say that we change the system and there was a way to regulate this like alcohol. Let's say that we had regulation, and I actually conceded this to you. I said there's a way to regulate fentanyl to where it's sold on every block, all this other stuff, and it was safe and nobody could die. And we ensured that kids weren't like no kid could open up a box.
Don't give us impossible standards like childproof boxes.
That's not an impossible. We have aspirin. Much it'll take somebody out.
Right.
That's not impossible.
Sure. And you know what? Exactly. So
alcohol's regulated. That's not impossible.
Right. Do they have childproof bottles? No. So
what are you saying?
Regardless, maybe okay. So regardless of whether or not the legal safety standards, the little hard to twist tops or whatever are available, the fact of the matter is that there's something that is illegal right now. It's criminalized. You as law enforcement attack criminals.
There's no metric to control people. It's the way that people don't die or anything.
You're justifying, but you're getting ahead of yourself because you're participating.
We have this for guns. We have this for beer, but we don't have this for that. If you can add that to it, then I'll concede my whole point.
If I can add, we don't have that in existence right now.
We do with alcohol.
Why don't we have it with drugs? Do you the number one resistance to legalizing marijuana is police unions. You guys refuse to allow this to not be harmful because it's a job.
I'll ask you a question. Do you think that
ignore that point?
You want me to elaborate on what point?
The fact that police unions are the number one resistance to making marijuana legal and allowing it to be less harmful because you guys profit from.
I would beg to differ. I think that we would say you even called us a stormtroopers. Stormtroopers aren't responsible for any of this stuff. All we do is conduct.
Yes, you
are. I would say a service, right, for the public. I'd say even that's a guise. I would say that. I'll even concede that to you. But here's my thing, though. I can concede all this to you. I'll concede every last bit to you. All I'm asking for is saying if you can find out if there's a way that we can regulate it just like alcohol, because alcohol is regulated, just like everything else, driving is regulated. All these things are regulated. Even non-drugs and drugs are regulated. If we can regulate this, then I'll concede my whole argument and point to you.
I got you. Because all of these drugs were developed before the war on drugs. Meth is like 120 years old.
Right. Alcohol's older than all this stuff too. Right?
And how old are you? Were about the same age. I'm 38, right? Like we're somewhere in the
same age. Yeah.
When our parents were kids, was there a meth epidemic? No.
I didn't hear about this as much.
There was not. And it's because even though they were developed, it didn't need to be managed. There wasn't a lot of demand for it. The demand comes with the prohibition, because now you've got something. Cocaine is more valuable by weight than gold, not because it's hard to produce, but because it's illegal. So
I can concede that.
You have artificially.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah. I can agree to that. Yeah.
So now it's so valuable and it's addictive. You've got pushers. They've got a big incentive now to get people addicted. So now you're promoting it, right? Like think of the Breaking Bad was just ranked by, I don't remember who, the #1 best TV show of all time. If it weren't for the glamorization of drugs because of the huge profit margin, how are you going to convince people to smoke Drano out of a light bulb?
So you're still running into what I was talking about in the end. How would we? So here's the thing. If you can concede this, then I'll agree with everything else. I agree with you that this has always existed. And the war on drugs and prohibition may have made it more valuable. Things that are scarce and more valuable are rare. This is all one and the same. This can happen. I'm agreeing with you. Here's the thing, though. If we can come to some concession as to how we can regulate this, it's going to get commercialized. I'm telling you right now. And if it gets commercialized in the end, just like alcohol and everything else, then I concede my whole point. I'd say, yeah, of course. But you know what that does?
Did you agree
it makes a safer environment for people that do this. But that's the reason why I would say morally I'm not wrong, because I'm protecting lives. Because it's. But do you understand? I'll agree that it's a double-edged sword. It cuts twice. Because if you're saying that you're going to prohibit drugs, you're making more users. But if you regulate it, you're going to make more users. So it's like not. But all I'm saying is that it's not morally wrong if I say that you're creating a system to protect more people by commercializing it.
Martez, do you agree? I'm sorry to overlook all that you just said. Do you agree that the system, police and the system, crushes endless lives, fucks over endless, and creates endless victims in your path to save those lives that you're talking about?
It's almost like you didn't hear the conversation between Power.
Okay, please give me the short version.
I mean, it's a relevant question, though, because it keeps kind of jumping off of that component.
No, I just answered that, actually. I answered that.
Yes, you acknowledge that you create a whole bunch of victims. You do victimize people in your efforts to save lives.
But the other way, too, you're creating a lot of victims if you don't create a regulation for this.
Most
That's
people
the
know
answer is the regulation. We'll all agree if we regulate
you're in denial, Martae. That's
not in denial.
You're in denial. Look,
no, what you're assuming. Let me point out
that I've.
Would you deregulate?
I can give you,
and I'll shut up after this.
100%.
One thing I want to point out: you're basically saying that because there's no regulation, it's like somehow like the drug's fault.
No, because there's no safe way, because there's no measure to make it like alcohol.
One sec. It was like objectively, like this is a fact. Like during when they made alcohol illegal, they deliberately made it stronger and stronger. Like the best seller was like moonshine, because you're transporting more alcohol volume per.
I've conceded
area.
that. Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's like in terms of like I said, kind of like regulating all this kind of shit. Like there's not really an argument out there to say that we should still, because like marijuana is still a Schedule 1 drug.
Do you understand what I mean?
Crazy.
So when I say regulation, I'm saying that we control the amount of hits that people take. Like if I take a hit and I know it's not going to kill me because regulation has made it safer for me to take, then I would agree with that. That's the regulation I'm talking about.
That's your argument then why you're okay with weed being illegal in one state and legal in another, is if it's not regulated.
But we're moving off.
We're not a law. Yeah, that's moving. That's not a law enforcement.
We're moving off the core point. The core point is that you have something. You have an enforcement system that is causing more harm than if it weren't enforced. You're ruining people's lives
Can you tell me how the opposite doesn't ruin lives if we don't regulate the usage and metrics to which how many people could take a dose and training information out there without any of this? How are we not ruining lives?
Because if you get the law enforcement out of it, if you just let the free market handle it, like alcohol, you have standardization, you have regulatory standards, industry standards, product safety standards.
We don't have the free market out of the alcohol industry. That doesn't exist. The free market is involved with alcohol. They regulate that, by the way, too.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's legal. It's just so by making something entirely illegal, you don't get rid of it.
You understand why it's illegal? Because it's not regulated. If you can regulate it, it can be legal.
You can regulate it.
We're both agreeing. Thank you. We're agreeing.
So we agree then that the law enforcement component is causing more harm in the substance abuse struggle.
No, what I think is causing more harm.
Can I just ask for what metrics?
The lack of safety protocols, the lack of education, and the lack of regulation by commercializing it is causing more harm because that's preventing. Because if you install that, then why need law enforcement?
My inability to handle drugs well is what will protect me from government bullets.
Your inability to handle guns because of lack of safety, training, and everything like that is going to create a detriment to yourself and society.
We're talking about responsible drug use. If I'm an irresponsible
requires training, education.
There's no
regulation
training that will protect me from government bullets when the cops kick in my door because they heard I was getting high.
Right, just like there's nothing that can save you from government bullets if I start beating the shit out of a spouse. I mean, that's the thing. If we're talking about harm, regulate.
The government is protecting somebody. Nobody's being protected when you get raided. I've been raided 3 times, motherfucker.
You are being protected because if you have a gun that's not a gun safe.
When you introduce the violence to the situation.
No, if you're going to offer something, use something that can be mapped across the board. If I have a gun that's not a gun safe and a child gets a hold of this, you're going to get doors kicked down regardless, or in ambulances, something's going to happen. That's what I'm talking about. If you can't control
if somebody gets harmed
and regulation, that's bad.
And if you have a kid overdose, that parent's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but more likely people are going to use drugs.
Why does that happen? Because of a lack of regulation, which means that there's education.
No,
that means that we have knowledge that's put out there, safety protocols. Everything that can kill somebody needs this involved with that. In the infrastructure, guns.
Okay,
drugs,
how much training should you have to? How much training should you have to undergo to buy antifreeze?
Measures?
How much training should you have to undergo to buy antifreeze?
That's not something you ingest.
It could be ingested though.
People poison people with
you can ingest glass. You don't need training for that.
Exactly. You're illustrating my point.
How many people die from drinking antifreeze?
A lot. They use it as poison.
Yeah. A lot? That's crazy. No, that's completely fallacious, Joe Cool.
You look into it.
We just making shit up now? That's crazy.
No,
a lot of people drink antifreeze.
What
about gasoline? How much training should you have to undergo to pump gas into a car?
Here's the thing. I'll even entertain this thought. Let's say that there was a populace.
Going back to earlier when you were saying that to regulate it, you'd be destroying more lives than if you just legalized it. Like, how are you measuring that?
Well, how we would measure. So, do you understand the definition when I'm talking about regulating, right? Do you understand what I mean by regulate?
Over the line. I think he's got an idea, man.
No, Damon's asking Flo, how are you measuring the harm?
What?
Damon's asking you, how are you measuring the harm? How are you making?
We can look at the war on drugs itself and its effectiveness at reducing substance abuse rates, and see that in those 40 years, substance abuse has gone up, as has the number of incarcerated and overdose deaths.
Shit, guys, I think I'm having connection issues. I can't hear you. Sorry.
Okay, we can hear you, but you probably didn't hear me say that.
Try refresh. I'll bring it back up.
Also, we can look at his alcohol prohibition, and if you look at the number of cops killed, say in the line of duty, organized crime. I mean, that was the heyday of gangsters, right? All that is specifically the product of prohibition. Prohibition increases the harm done by substance abuse across the board dramatically. It increases murders. It increases the number of cop deaths. It increases the number of incarcerated. It increases the number of overdoses.
No, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. I've already agreed on this.
Then how is it moral for you to be part of the problem?
The only reason why I can tell you that it's immoral, and I'm not even going to say because I'm Eastern Orthodox or anything like that. The reason why I can say this is because let's say that I would think that guns are immoral. And the way that I'd explain to you that guns are immoral is because they're not regulated, meaning like there's no training. We just have guns, but there's no societal wide training on this. But there's no restrictions. Like you can't take guns to school, things like this. Then I would say that's immoral.
The deficit in training and the application of prohibition are two different things.
So here's the problem, though. How do you reduce harm?
Stop beating motherfuckers up over their guns and drugs.
No, that doesn't answer
all the violence in America.
No, we're back at square one.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
We're back at square one. So if I say everybody can use fentanyl, do you think that the usage or protective measures would go up or down?
I would not go out and use fentanyl, crack, or any of
You're
that
not going to answer the question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The question doesn't make sense. Say it again.
So you want me to say it again, even though you said it doesn't make sense? You didn't understand the question.
If you can rephrase the
question. Do you want me to Do you want me to say it again?
Let me rephrase my request. Will you rephrase your question?
Oh, you want me to rephrase the question? All right, I will. Okay, so if we release a drug, we'll just remember RoboCop when they had this drug that was so powerful that this dead guy that was brought back to life wanted to use this and he would do anything for it. Let's say that we release this on the streets. I forgot what this was called. But we release it on the streets. We don't offer training. We don't say, hey, this is what safe use is. There are safe use places to use this at. And we just say, because remember, cigarette butts were everywhere when people have no
instead of using a RoboCop drug, can we use something we're familiar with so we'll have a reference? Can we say
you just
want to heroin to something? So we'll know.
You just want to go ahead and tell
one sec, Martae. The drug name was Nuke, by the way. It was Nuke.
Let him make his analogy, and then we'll bring it back to a real one. That we don't need an analogy.
Martae, walk down the spot with me. Will you? Walk down the spot with me, okay? Would you agree that no law or regulation is going to stop a bullet? You know what I mean? And if you take away the guns, it's the bad people are still going to have the guns, correct?
That's just saying that we want to go. So here's the thing. I would say,
you see the contradiction.
You can see anything. No, there's no contradiction.
Because we just replace gun with drugs.
Caveat. So there's a caveat.
The bad people are still going to get the drugs.
There's a caveat there that's consistent. I can say that people are still going to get the drugs, but absent training, absent warnings, absent anything where we have places for fair use, meaning if you want to smoke, remember back in the 50s when people could smoke on TV, J.R. Vidalis, they'd smoke in the hospital, but now we've reduced this. So it's now kids are getting less secondhand smoke, right? If we regulate this where there's use, you're going to find less bottles of this drug of fentanyl in certain places and playgrounds and everything. So in order to reduce this to create a safer environment, what do we need to do? Create these systems in place for this.
I'm not sure.
Martae,
wait, hold up.
Martae, you know what that was? Martae,
hold up for a second.
Martae, you know what that was? That was this.
What would you do if you won the lottery?
Open a buffet.
That was a nothing burger. Damon, go ahead.
No, wait. Yeah.
No,
so okay, let me ask Teriak on this. Just let me ask you a couple of questions.
I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay. So okay, let me ask to Teriak and also to Dusty. If you guys want to have a gun, if you're saying oh no, yeah, okay, we want to legalize this or in the UK or whatever. If I ask you, why do you need a gun or why do you want a gun? What's your answer going to be?
Self-defense.
Self-defense. Okay, cool. So there's there could be a valid reason for you wanting one which doesn't put anyone in danger apart from somebody who wants to put your life in danger, which is fair enough. If I ask you now, why do you want to have a drug? Why do you want to have drugs?
Why should we legalize that? Motherfucker.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So what happens when you get high?
Damon, he donated $20, but I will answer your question or give you the perspective that you want, though. But I'll see you in 20 minutes. Where is it? So yeah, in terms of that whole dynamic, it's to me these are mind-altering drugs, and because I'm a thinker, I want to expand my mind. So I want to be a responsible individual about it. I'm not just gonna go to the candy shop and just start putting all my like hands in the pick and mix and just throwing everything into me. I'm going to come at it from particularly with like psychedelics. How are psychedelics banned? I don't get that. How was like marijuana a Schedule 1 drug? I mean, it's crazy to me.
So who has marijuana? Do people die from one hit of marijuana?
Nope.
No, but by your logic, you've created 1 billion victims from weed.
With
And if they
fentanyl,
tell you
people
to keep
die all the
creating
time from
victims,
just
you
like
would.
For example,
inhalation
Martae. For
particles.
example, Martae.
That's
Kids have
crazy.
ADHD. Kids have ADHD to give them basically to give them amphetamines, which is basically like on like
Literally give them
a
amphetamines.
slightly
controlled?
weaker version. One sec, that's a slightly weaker version than meth, right? They give that to kids, right? But why
Right.
can't a mathematician or a deep thinker take just literally buy amphetamine so we can spend more time thinking about like the deepest like mathematical problems or scientific problems?
Wait, hold on. Wait, let's follow. I'll entertain this. How is that mathematician, if we grant this, able to take this?
Smoke it.
He
Whatever.
just goes to a pharmacy.
Pharmacy, right? Which means it's
Yeah.
regulated.
He goes to a corner store. Either way, it's legal for him to get.
Right. It's
But
legal,
we-
which means it's regulated. The whole argument I was
Yes.
making the whole time.
It's legal but regulated.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why is there not a regulated?
You're-
Why is there not a regulated market
No,
for
one
it,
second,
Martae?
let me explain. The whole point that Flo is trying to make is that like you clearly don't have an issue with it being legal then. You know what I mean? So then why were you doing the
Yeah, I
DEA?
don't have an issue with it being legal as long as it's regulated.
Yeah.
Why
But
do
then-
police?
Regulated.
Why do police lobby so hard? Unions lobby so hard to keep it from being
Yeah.
legalized.
No, we never lobbied against it.
Yo,
Well, I don't know
huh?
about you personally. I just Google
Not
some
our
shit.
sector. We haven't lobbied against that.
That's-
Law
they say-
enforcement police unions? Yes, you fucking have.
They say
You're
vigorously.
talking about police. That's a
Yeah.
whole. All right, then whatever. Those
Yeah,
guys.
I mean, you're just a different zebra, same stripes, though, right?
No,
Like law enforcement profits from crime. Now, crime should be illegal if there's a victim, but
dollars don't come from drugs. That's crazy.
dollars don't come from drugs. Are you kidding me?
Not those direct dollars, because you can't prove that.
Hold on,
Bro.
hold the fuck.
Can't
on.
prove if you make something rare, the price don't go up.
Because when you're talking about financial,
what was the military doing in the poppy fields in Afghanistan then? Do you think that
No,
was
I'm
just because
talking
they were
about-
How
terrorists?
does asset
hold on, you're
forfeiture
making a
work?
fallacy. You're Teriak. You're creating a fallacy right now.
How does asset forfeiture
Do
work?
cops get paid? Did we directly, our department, get paid directly from poppy fields in Afghanistan?
No, it's an indirect payment.
Oh,
He gonna
no.
add directly
Oh,
in there. He
shit.
gonna add directly.
Look, you
in
might
there.
be
That's the
stupid,
reach.
but you're
Now
acting
saying it's
stupider than
indirect.
you
That's the
are.
reach. How much further can you reach, Teriak and Powder Dusty?
Okay.
Can you find
So what-
something direct? Can you find a
so hold on,
correlate at
hold on.
least?
Our department's not funded by seized assets.
I mean, that's unfalsifiable. You're asking me something that I mean, I wouldn't even
Do
know.
law enforcement fund themselves by seizing assets from criminals?
You're talking about like police. If something's been in the law for a long time, they'll take it. Yeah, of course.
You
That's anything.
okay.
That's not even police. These are regular people that can do this.
can do what?
But what do you think?
I can't walk into Joe Cool's house and take his shit.
No, if a
without
pawn
getting-
shop gets something and it just dropped off, and then somebody leaves, and he's like, "Oh, nobody takes this off. It takes this off my hands."
Whoa,
20 days, it's mine.
whoa! Your analogy sucks, bro.
Yeah,
No, it's
for
not.
sure it sucks. That's not how this shit
Pawn
works.
shops get shit all the time. If it stays over 20 days, they're like,
So
"Fuck
you're
it." If nobody
saying
claims
when
it, it's
police
mine.
seize
Who else
assets from
knows this?
people,
Everybody
they
else in
don't know
society.
who it is. It's because the people didn't request their stuff.
That happens a lot. This could be mapped on to other areas of society, not just
You
law enforcement.
borderline being in danger
Now
of
you're
being
lying. Now you're being a
insincere
liar
right
to
now.
me. We both know that you're
so
lying to me.
Pawn shops don't do this. They don't do that?
You're
You're
talking about
deflecting.
pawn shop. You
Wait, hold on. No, wait, hold on.
No,
A lie and a deflection can be two different things. Do pawn shops
Why
not
are
do
you
this?
deflecting?
another deflection.
No, you said lie. Oh, so
Why are
now
you
you're going to go back
deflecting?
on this?
Right, we're gonna get to it. Why are you deflecting?
I'm not deflecting. I'm giving you an example. You asked a question, and I'm giving you an example of somebody else who does this, and that this can be mapped onto other areas of society. You're saying it like it's only law enforcement. It's not true.
Why
No,
do,
no.
do you know that the reason that it's different is because law enforcement is not just capturing lost and found items. Law enforcement is taking items from people that
That's
are there.
the difference.
You're-
No
you're
one's
talking about-
leaving and
so-
bringing it to the pawn shop, handing it over.
So
They're
I'll ask you a
actively
question.
taking it. You know the difference.
Can I answer it,
Your
Joe?
pawn shop analogy sucked. And you
I can't
know
answer
why.
a question. Oh,
Go
because
ahead.
you can't refute it doesn't mean it doesn't suck, Joe.
It does
So
suck.
back to what I was saying. So this is what I'm saying. So if there is a stolen car and nobody claims it, police can't hold on to it.
That's not the issue at hand.
No, I'm walking you through this.
No.
Great. So they can hold on to this. What do they do if nobody claims this? Can they not take this? Can we not say, okay, it goes back to the city? Who's the city people? What would you do? How would you change this? If you could warp that situation and change these laws and how they conduct this, how else would you do this?
That's not the situation I'm talking about. Get your straw man out of here. Do you see these? These are legally owned guns that I forfeited. There's more pages too. Now, they weren't confused about whose shit that was.
You're talking about something that other people do as well too.
Listen to
Talk about law enforcement. This is how law enforcement funds a large part of its operations. I was not charged with gun crimes. None of these guns were owned illegally. All of them, as part of my plea deal, I handed over to law enforcement. They got to dispose of them.
Did you have a felony?
Not at this time. I did after the plea deal. But look, regardless.
So you had a felony, so you couldn't own a gun. Oh, yes.
No, here, you know what? Let me pull up the next page. Hold on a second. I'm gonna show you the next page.
Something else, right? Let's go.
Because first of all, just because I'm not allowed to own something doesn't mean that that I can't dispose of it. I could have given it to any number of family members. But
that's not how it works, though. If I seize a gun from you and I give you your gun back, am I allowed to take the bullets out of the gun before I hand it back to you?
Here, real quick. Let me zoom in on this. How about that item 44, 27 miscellaneous knives?
Yeah, I mean, I can concede that. It doesn't destroy my whole argument.
Why was this part of my plea deal?
I don't know your specific
I can answer it because in the state of Kansas, the proceeds from stuff like this is split 50-50 between the agency that seized them and the prosecutor's office. It's robbery. That's why.
Yeah, but like Martae, one sec, Martae. Anybody who's played GTA will tell you if the cops bust you, you lose all your shit.
You know what's crazy about this? When I'm supposed to respond to something, I have to now respond to another thing. So I'm just
leaving you with one line philosophy.
I don't mind doing it.
Go ahead. Okay. I'll put you full stage. We know you want to go full stage. Let's go.
No, that's not what I said. I'm not saying I want to go full stage. All I'm asking for is justification that logically makes sense. And if we could do that, then I'll meet you guys where you're at. I have no problem doing this, but we have to find a way. My whole problem is regulation to make it safe, firm, fair, and consistent across the board. Absent any of this, I agree. Law enforcement that's making something rare is going to make something more potent, more strong, and it's going to cause problems. You're right to say that police are causing problems by arresting people who aren't hurting anybody else. But the problem that you're going to run into is non-regulation. There's no societal education about this. That's the problem I have about this. And the youth about this isn't saving lives.
They don't have anything to do with each other.
Fentanyl in other people's hands aren't saving lives. There's no justification for this. And it's like there's all these other things. The waters get muddy without regulation. That's my whole point.
I get it. Regulation. Isn't that something separate from you jumping and beating people up and ruining their lives and taking their jobs in this economy?
So now you're loading something in, jumping and beating people up without context. It's like now all of a sudden I'm just doing this.
Yes, maybe I was.
Do you think anytime a drug is present, people always got beat up?
Here's the thing.
I wish you wouldn't.
No, you gotta stop. You're telling me making bad hypotheticals.
Who's in charge of supplying regulation? Is it the user?
Companies.
No, that's wrong too. It's the government. So why would you beat up users? Because the government didn't do its fucking job.
We can say the FDA is controlling this, right? But who controls how many milligrams is in the aspirin?
Answer the question I'm asking, Martae.
Ask it again.
Responsible for regulation. Why are you taking it out on the user?
How is the user a doctor?
Oh, the user's the average.
Do they know how many milligrams they should be taking? Who prescribes
Probably
this?
Because they've been
so you're saying the user can be a prescriber? Wait, hold on.
Who is responsible for regulation?
I would say the FDA should be responsible for regulation. They are.
Who should be responsible for there not being regulation? Whose obligation is that?
for there not being regulation.
Who's responsible? Yeah, somebody dropped the ball. There should we both agree there should be regulation on these substances, but there's not. Who dropped the ball?
I think it's the same entity, believe it or not.
Right. So why are you attacking people who are not responsible for the problem there?
I'm not attacking people. I'm saying it should be regulated, but these people aren't doing their job. We both agree on that.
You are literally attacking people every day when you give them drug crimes to take away their jobs, their homes, and the fucking.
So what Joel Cool does is muddy the waters and deflection. Your
argument. I don't need your fucking thoughts and assertions. Argue the argument, isn't it?
Wait, how do I argue an argument without thoughts or assertions?
He's accusing you of red herring fallacies.
I get that, but he's okay.
That's what he's doing.
I get it, but.
No, he's accusing you of being red herrings. That's what he's calling out.
I get it, but
false accusations are great.
No, listen. Okay, let's break it down. We're gonna have to. Let's break it down to things that I said.
Yes, please. Let's break this down.
All right. You rob people. Was I wrong?
No. You rob people.
Yes. You beat people up. Was I wrong?
You're making an absolute.
Make them lose their jobs.
You're saying, I want to break it up, but I'm going to make an absolute in the process of doing this.
I don't know about what make an absolute mean. I'm just saying, where was I wrong that you're saying I'm red herring and making a fallacy and shit? I was trying to display that you.
How are you going to do this? You don't know how to formulate a proper
argument. Drop Joe.
Powder Dusty, can you and me talk? That's crazy.
You want to drop him? No, fuck that. You don't have to engage my shit. You don't have to. I can't make a nigga do it.
You're right. You can.
What you're doing, Martae just needs to have one person questioning him because
you had your shot for a long time.
You're right. I did.
I was trying to get mine.
Well, I pay for mine.
Oh, I didn't know that shit. If it's a matter of bread,
I feel like this is Patty's channel and I'm doing the post versus like eight black dudes. That's okay though.
Yes, I think. You don't like to argue my arguments, man. My arguments are all back to the same shit. You do.
No, they're not. See? They're not, because you're saying, do police beat people up? Yes, but that's not a consistent standard across the board. And it has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Joe, you got 20 minutes.
Joe, hang tight. I probably won't have you back there the whole time if you want to stick around.
Okay, now we can actually
now
conversate about
Martae, what you're doing is you're leaning really hard on multiple lines of questioning so that you can dodge away from the one that you don't want to go to. It's a great way to muddy the waters.
I want to clarify this. That's why I'm asking for clarification. That's the reason why I'm asking
clarification on.
So when I ask questions about this, as far as regulation, it's like you guys agree. We all agree. Let's at least let me clear the room. We all agree that police can be adding to the problem. I've never once denied this, right? So when we say that police non-legalize something, it creates more of a drug problem. You agree with me on this, right, Powder Dusty?
When police when police non-legalize something?
When things aren't legal, meaning we're not legalizing drugs, it creates a problem in the drug industry, right? But I'm not saying police. I'm saying when laws or FDA doesn't legalize things, it creates a problem where police are now opposed to people who are now creating new victims.
Right,
we could say we're creating new victims.
The enforcement is the problem.
So, right, the enforcement is only the problem because we're looking at the wrong monster. We're not looking at FDAs, the people that pass these laws.
No, we're not. The FDA isn't who kicked in my door.
Well, here's the thing, though. The dad is kicking in your door because you're messing with his daughter, but the school allowed it.
What?
It's the school. It's the extension.
What?
So you're talking about the extension of the law when really it's like you're blaming somebody else that isn't the origin of this. The origin's the FDA, not the law.
So the law is the bad thing.
The law enforcement is the extension of the FDA.
The law enforcement is not responsible for the bad laws it enforces.
So, okay, the people that have the power to change and legalize, you're not mad at?
Don't dodge the question. I agree with you. They have responsibility. But what I'm saying is law enforcement, the person enforcing the laws, you are moral prostitutes because they're doing things that they know are wrong.
No, we've already showed that I'm not a moral prostitute because I've already explained to you how it's moral and amoral on my end. So if I tell you that because it's not regulated, No, it's a moral quandary that we're running into, because if I know that there's not a safe, effective way put out there to regulate this so that way people can use this, it would be morally wrong by my thought process, and it's consistent. But if we can find a way to do this that solves that problem.
Okay. So
that's the only thing I'm hung up on, Powder Dusty.
Here's the thing. Like I've laid this out already. The lack of safe standards, that's the responsibility of the government. That's not the user's responsibility. So you attacking users who are not responsible for that lapse instead of government who is responsible for the lapse, that's the immoral thing. You're attacking the victims.
Powder Dusty, do you think that we should law enforcement should attack the government?
What I want to know is, why are you attacking victims?
Well, hold on. We have to.
Nope. I'm not taking that straw man or red herring or whatever the fuck it is. Why is it not immoral? Why is it not immoral for law enforcement?
Logically, you're talking about attacking victims.
Individual law enforcement agents to sell their services and attack victims of the lack of regulation.
These aren't guys.
Yeah, just real quick, we have a question.
That would be a moral issue if it kills people. That would be a moral issue if it's like killing people and if it's causing more harm. Meaning, like if I took that and I'm now robbing more stores because I'm taking gear, or if it's cheating or something like that. Like, to me, I would say a moral quandary with that. I think it's a moral issue if it causes harm to other people. Like if I take crack and crack makes me act erratic and walk nude in front of kids in traffic, and crackheads do this all the time, which is like public nudity. That's a moral issue. So if we look at the arena of like drug use, as far as like steroids and gear and things like that, I don't really see a moral issue with that. The reason why is because I'm looking at harm.
Cool. So, hold on to that for 1 sec. The question is it morally good for people to use gear? I think you just basically answered that, but I also need to introduce a guest from the backstage.
We bring in the studio this morning one of the gay rights activists, Mr. Should I call you Mr.?
Mr. Vibe, welcome to the show.
So, you would arrest somebody for steroids. That's my point.
Yeah.
That makes it immoral.
No.
You're introducing the harm to the situation.
Where's the harm?
In getting arrested? In getting raided?
Okay, so people smuggle. Do you understand what happens when people smuggle steroids?
No, but I don't need to, because if it wasn't for the prohibition,
there's a lot of harm that happens when people smuggle steroids. There's a lot of harm that happens.
It doesn't matter. All that is the responsibility of law enforcement.
Harm doesn't matter now. Harm is not.
All of those harms are on law enforcement. The only reason they're smuggled at all is because of prohibition.
It's not on law enforcement.
Yes.
It's not a law enforcement. So if somebody takes a gun, if a kid takes a gun and shoots somebody, it's not anybody else's fault.
What I'm saying is that smuggling,
regulation. If we throw regulation out,
man, you're a fucking dancing professional.
I'm not a dancing professional.
You're really good at dancing. You're tap dancing all over the place.
It's not consistent.
I want to stay here. I want to stay here. You cause harm to people enforcing drug laws.
So enforcing laws that protect people,
there's regulated. The thing. I saw you smirk too. You know, right? They don't protect people.
I'm like, you're crazy because we're going to keep running into regulation.
You keep saying they protect people, but who's protected?
Hey, Flo, can I ask a question? And Marty, do you mind if I butt in for a sec?
God, I don't have enough 20s for this conversation.
I don't want to be disrespectful to anybody here, but and I'll be really quick with this.
Bring Joe back.
Like, one of the things I hate is the seatbelt law. I'll wear it whether there's a law or not, but I hate that the government says I have to wear one. I hate that there's a helmet law. I'll probably wear it on the California freeways, but if I'm in the fields of Kansas City, I want to be able to take off my helmet. Now, when it comes to drugs, right, I kind of feel like this is the same thing, and this is Philosophical Friday. So I kind of want to get into the philosophy of some of this, and it kind of goes to the point what both of you guys are talking about here, right? I don't think there should be a seatbelt law, but I think if we remove the seatbelt law, the idiots all of a sudden are going to start dying a lot more. If you remove the helmet law, the medical field is going to be ecstatic because the biggest lobbyists against the helmet law are the medical fields because they're great organ donors. If they're dumb enough not to wear a helmet, they get to save somebody else's life. Now, there's the philosophy here is now, where do I let the government interfere when, even if I'm capable of making the right choices, even if I can do responsible drug use, even if I will put my seatbelt on without a law, do I want to cross the line saying, wow, I see a lot of my friends that don't have that capability. I see a lot of my friends that will do a thing of meth and their whole lives will go downhill. And do I actually say, okay, you know what? I'm okay.
A whole thing of meth. They did a whole thing. That's a lot of meth.
I don't know. I've never done meth, but I don't think it's like weed. But I mean, we have a horrible alcoholism problem in the United States. That's legal. Even with regulation, it does a lot of harm. And so really, when it comes to the philosophy of this, we have to look at like, okay, so we have these certain people that are educated or have self-restraint that can handle these things. And we have a bunch of people, and I have to say the statistics of the bunch of people that can't handle these things is much higher. Just because some can, should we be able to legalize it for all and allow those to be harmed? And then the second part, and I'll shut up after the second part. The community makes the laws going, I want to save this many people. Now, I think the left side tries to save too many people. I think there is a point where you just go, stupidity is stupidity. We have to let them die.
Made the laws for war on drugs.
But the only way you can actually, if you're going to, so yeah, the war on drugs, right?
Right. That was
all drugs should be legal, because you know that the results of that are not. I mean, legalizing marijuana and alcohol, like we've got alcohol treatment programs. We'll have to have marijuana treatment programs. If we start opening up these other ones, we have to do programs like that. We know a lot of
life treatment programs. We already have those,
but we're going to need more. Like if you legalize it,
so we don't have the capacity.
You speculate that, but all we can do is look at the past and see that in 45 years of the war on drugs, substance abuse rates have increased.
Yeah,
so what we're doing now
is a double-edged sword. So I mean, ultimately, what do you think the results were if the government were to regulate like alcohol? So I can go to the liquor store, I can buy I don't know, my 40-ounce a joint and meth. What do you think the next day results of that would look like in the United States?
I think that initially, like very short term, you'd have a pop in substance abuse issues, but that over time it would plateau, or it would taper way off real fast. I think you'd have an immediate drop in organized crime, both nationally and internationally. You'd have a decrease in murders and incarceration. I think that the prohibition is the source of most of the issues. Now, and as far as the harmfulness of the drugs, alcohol is the most harmful drug, and it's legal. The reason that everybody knows a functioning alcoholic, but not many people know functioning crackheads, is because of the things you have to go through to get your potency fix. It's because it's not because the crack is necessarily that much worse than the alcohol.
So one sec, real quick. One sec, real quick, just get through a couple of things. Shout about us with 2 dots says, I think this is the Marta. Explain how Ronnie Coleman wasn't an officer. And then also Raging Pater says, fuck your couch. Thank you.
Fuck your
boys.
So that's very easy to answer. Ronnie Coleman was natural for a very long time. He turned pro-natural, just like I turned pro-natural. There's a lot of people who are freaks of nature. I was a freak of nature. I was undefeated in Arizona for 4 different years. Turned pro damn near naturally. I had to take stuff when I got in the league. So
I don't know anything about Ronnie Coleman.
The only thing I know is he wasn't natural.
I was interrupting Vibe there, though. Vibe, back to you.
Yeah, I mean,
you're saying he was natural, and then he got all the juice and shit.
Yeah, when he stopped working for PD. Yeah. My logic is like consistent on that. So yeah, of course, logically it would follow that he wasn't doing that when he was working for PD. So
I just get worried with the drugs, right? Like the super addictive drugs. If you opened up the market, what you were saying, Dusty, is all of a sudden the cartel market would die because now they're not included in the whole industry, right? But even today, we still have the backdoor deals, even going with construction and things like that. So it's still going to be there, even though it's going to be a little bit more legit. There's still going to be a lot of violence in the back end. Maybe the violence will die. I think opening this to the market, not for particular drugs, but certain drugs, will actually increase the violence in the public from the person-to-person aspect.
That's intentional propaganda, right? Like, think
Why
about
would
how
it?
that's why they keep making new. Now we're on fentanyl. Before it was crack. Before it was, like, there's
Weed.
always some big hype panic drug that just hit the street. Croc.
Yeah,
What's
Flo,
the stuff that's
here's
making
the thing,
people
though.
wander around like zombies, right?
Here's the thing, to address he's basically worried about the people who don't know shit about drugs. Then they'll take like some like high potency drug like straight away and they're fucked kind of thing. The whole like I ate a weed cookie and now I'm spaced out for an hour or whatever.
That's the
But what
paradigm
we're
we're in now.
No, and we
Yeah,
can
but
even
one-
actually
but
take
one
it
sec,
outside
one
of
sec,
the drugs
Flo.
that everybody's
Yeah.
scared of. We could
Well,
talk
well,
about
well-
steroids. We could talk about, let's say,
Yeah.
amoxicillin, which is the prototype or the what is it? Manufactured penicillin, right? I have to go to the doctor. It takes me like a week whenever I get an ear infection to get penicillin. I am smart enough to know that I only get it every like 2-3 years. It's something common that I have, and I know what I need to do. And I have to jump through so many hoops to get that
That's
drug.
industry
That was
monopoly,
sold.
right? That's
if
industry
that was-
monopoly. That's a profit.
If that
center.
was sold over the counter, I could handle that. But there's a lot of people out there that as soon as they sneeze, they would go and buy that and
Well,
use it.
I-
yeah,
but
and
one sec, one sec.
eventually become immune to it. Right, and so
Yeah,
let's take the illegal drug or the
Yeah.
mind-altering drugs out of the scenario. Let's just talk about over-the-counter and
Let Marioc have it been on his own
Right?
fucking channel.
Yeah, so Vibe, like
Sorry.
what I'm saying is like from the dynamic of like what we're saying is that like even if we grant that it's like okay, like you have to take some sort of like driver's ed course or like drugs ed course or whatever before you got your license and you had this license. What's stopping me as, let's say, a scientist who does like very deep like mathematics or whatever and string theory or whatever the fuck, going out and wanting to get like amphetamines, which they give to kids. Like, why can't I just go down to the local pharmacy, get my amphetamine, so I can like devote more of my time to work?
And the amoxicillin thing
can I try?
is pure profit protection, right? Just like glasses. Why do you need a prescription to get another set of contact lenses? It's not because there's some damage, right? This is just profit protection with amoxicillin.
But I want to point out the fact that like you don't have an answer to that is like that's why they should not be illegal.
Can I say
current
something
system we have is
kind of
I
on
do
that?
have an answer for why it should be illegal, because without regulation, you're going to have what Vibes was talking about. The only thing I'm talking about is like if we can add some safety protocols there, some industry standard, but you can't have crack out there without an industry standard. With smoking, we do have an industry standard. It's regulated. There are certain places you could do this at, certain places you can't do this. Alcohol, just the same, right?
Okay.
We have regulation as far as you can't drive impaired, things like this.
The lack of industry standard does not make the moral right to attack people who
It does.
victims of it.
We attack drunk drivers all the time.
It does.
We attract drunk drivers all the time. Not only do we do this, but we attract everybody else that's driving under any influence, not just alcohol, but under any
That's
kind of
absolutely
influence.
not true. You
All
cannot
that's
test for other
regulated.
influences. I know because I've been pulled
All
over a
that's
lot driving
regulated
high.
regardless because of why.
The Buddha is kind to his brothers. $5. Appreciate it. He says, Marta, you're wrong. Coleman became a pro in 91.
Yeah.
Coleman retired from law enforcement in 2000. He won his first major Olympia in 98. He explained this out. He's bringing
Brian
receipts, bro.
Coleman was
Yeah,
a
he
pro.
said he's
He
bringing
didn't take
receipts,
anything
bro.
for a long ass time. He didn't take anything for I was a pro. I didn't take anything for a long time. Explain me too. You're gonna have to explain Phil.
Yeah,
Heath,
everybody who
was
takes
for a long
things
time.
says they don't take things.
Yeah, but
Also, I'm lying now. So you think it's unfalsifiable?
I'm just saying. You're referencing yourself as proof, but all you're doing is sitting here saying that you didn't take
Well, I
something.
know these guys. I know these guys. All I have to do is take their word for it. But see what he's asking? He's asking a question that's unfalsifiable, which is crazy. So, but if you were to believe me, I didn't take anything until like later on as a
I
pro.
believe you, Martae. Calm down. I believe you. But now that you lost your job, I believe that you're back on the juice because they're not testing you.
Haven't touched
Day
anything.
one.
Haven't
Day
touched
one.
anything.
Driving home from work, you're like, fuck that job.
Fuck that.
I won the Mr.
Tony.
California without anything. Trust me, I didn't. I was whooping people's butts as a natural person for a very long time before I even started. So that's the thing. The thing is that the reason why a lot of people turn pro is because they had this natural talent or genetics beforehand. If you gave drugs across the board to everybody, you still would have the same amount of pros that you have today.
But Martae, is your main thing here? It's like I only prosecute the drugs I disagree with in the DEA thing. Ergo, there's no conflict. Is that your thing?
No, my biggest thing is safety to the public. That's my biggest concern, because if you don't regulate it, how do you determine what's safe, and how do you determine who's going to get a hold of this? How do you
pick one?
To the public, why are you ensuring that the harm goes to the red? Harm is
on that point though, Flo. I agree with a lot of what you were saying.
Overdose death, which only happens really if you're a needle user. The biggest threat from doing drugs is for sure the Gestapo.
I brought up fentanyl. Fentanyl almost took me out.
No, it did not. Now I think you're either lying or you're being a sissy.
Yeah,
it was airborne. Right.
This
is the same fucking bullshit hyperbolic things that we heard about crack, that we heard about AIDS, that we're now hearing about
fentanyl is a different beast, man.
So fentanyl is potent.
How is it that all these loser junkies are able to manage handling fent, but cops keep dying from airborne fent?
Do you know how long they were on this? Do you know how long? So do you?
I can answer that question if you want to know.
Immunities to certain things, right? If you've been
cops do drugs and then have to make up excuses. That's why.
So here's the thing.
No, wait. Can I just make a point about the question you asked about fentanyl?
Good luck.
It's open, baby.
Your mic sucks.
Will you get drunk on beer?
Okay, I'm going to cut out and I'm going to come back.
Cool, miss.
I wish I knew it was that easy a while ago.
So what would your tolerance be like if you've never drank before and you drank one shot of whiskey? It'd be pretty low, right? But people who are avid drinkers of alcohol, they can go through it, right? Your argument fails because of that.
Here's the thing.
Hold on, Flo, if you don't mind. Your argument fails because all of those fentanyl users use it the very first time and they did not die. So
correct. They haven't. These are lucky people. Do you know how many people I saw that died the first time?
The reason that cops keep having these issues is not because they have low tolerances, is because they're doing the drug themselves and then making up excuses after the fact.
Developing a tolerance level, whereas I didn't do this. Right.
Maybe you did. The more we talk, the more I'm thinking maybe you did some of it. Like, don't act like cops don't do drugs. Don't act like cops don't do drugs. I've bought drugs from uniformed police officers.
So here's the thing, though. It can happen, but is it something that's highly likely? It's less likely because you get drug tested all the time.
100% of cops who overdose because they did drugs that they stole from people that would be 100%. They're gonna say exactly what you said. Oh my God, this is super drug.
That's right.
Yeah, that doesn't even make a point because the people, 100% of people that don't die don't do drugs. So what?
Can you imagine having a drug potent enough that you just walk in the house, you could overdose and die? That's crazy. What you're claiming is outside of and most people haven't done enough drugs to know that that's completely.
No, I didn't overdose and die, but I was affected enough to be.
I used the cellar shit. I needed to go.
I was affected enough to where I had to be allowed to go back to work because I had to get medically cleared.
Yeah, but you don't know how you ingested it. You just got a whiff of it.
Yeah,
that's because that's what the story said.
A lot,
boss. That's why I tested positive.
I googled it while I was downstage, and they said that's not a thing. They say it's bullshit. It was.
It's not a thing. It's a cop excuse.
No, it's not a cop excuse. Not a cop excuse.
We got a question.
So Flo, can I?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead, Damon. Actually, you've been waiting. Yeah,
no, Flo. I was just going to say, I agree. Your whole argument about the is the mic okay or is it still shit?
It's not very good, but we can hear you. Go ahead.
It's still
okay, cool. So yeah, the point you're making about the whole prohibition thing, like causing the whole black market on drugs. Yeah, 100%, totally agree. And that is a big fucking problem. Anytime you try to like make something illegal, obviously criminals are going to try and exploit it, and it puts way more people at risk. And you got me on that a lot. I agree with you on that completely. The only thing that I was going to say earlier on about the airborne fent is like that fentanyl that you were talking about before, the black fentanyl. Yeah, it's got like literally toxic compounds in it. But the thing is like with fent, obviously it's measured in micrograms, and like 100 mics, if it hits you at once IV, can literally stop you breathing. inhaled,
Can you go
need a
find an
little bit
example
more.
of anybody besides a cop getting affected by airborne fent?
Well, no, because I don't know who would literally like toss a shit ton of fentanyl in the air and then try to inhale it.
Right, exactly. That's what
A
you
lot
have
of
to do.
cops, apparently.
Yeah, cops.
But I've seen.
I don't know what that is. Throw it in front of the fan.
Right,
I've seen a bunch of but I've seen a bunch of people like get admitted. I've seen cops get admitted when like if they go on a raid and somody just throws a shit ton of fentanyl because they know.
I even Google touching it. They said there's no cases of even touching it.
No. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you. The cops do drugs. I know shit tons of cops who've overdosed and shit because they do drugs. Yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I'm not disagreeing.
What is your point?
Well, no, because I was just saying that when you're talking about like why does that fucking happen, I'm just saying that like it's very easy to inhale enough of the mouth.
It's not. That's what I'm
telling
telling you.
If you're bent over with a
story is
straw.
wrong. That
No,
narrative
I'm not.
is wrong.
Listen, I'm not doubting that there's cops who are drug users. I'm not doubting that, but at the same time,
why do you
have
think
seen
that you
people
can just
admitted to
inhale this
hospital.
shit? Where is your information coming from?
So here's the thing. We were doing a search. I had walked into a room and this person was trying to hide it. Particulates must have been in the air, but I'm guaranteeing you, not only was I lightheaded, but I knew something hit my system really bad. It affected the canine and it affected Officer Reeves, the person I was working with.
Canine's out here sniffing.
I've seen. I was covering an NHS hospital, and I've seen 6 police officers admitted because somebody threw a bag of fentanyl at them.
Amazing. It's amazing
Sorry?
that you don't forget to stop or to breathe.
That would never happen in real
said
life.
that.
How the police so unlucky?
Vibe actually has a really good question here. Teriak, you can either somebody read that, but that's a really good question.
Yeah, this was Vibe's question. You had to go with his kids, but appreciate you stopping by. Vibe, he says, my next question was going to be, if we vote to allow drugs, would Flo be willing to let the police to use force to prevent those who didn't want that? But
Well, first of all, let me say that would not be the case. People are not out here clamoring for drug laws. They were implemented, and then people had to clamor against them, and we're barely eking out ground in that direction. So,
can you answer the hypothetical?
Hold on. Your question doesn't reflect reality. That said,
no,
I wouldn't. Let me answer the question directly. No, I would not support it. I don't support people listening to country music because it fucking sucks. But it's not my business, and I don't encourage people to use violence to stop you from doing that. Go ahead.
Nah, that's a wrap now. Oh, I can't believe you said that. So people are putting Spanish fly in people's drinks, letting them take drugs when they weren't unaware of this. Because this happens all the time. This reflects reality. Would you stop this? I'm not going to stop this.
He's not talking about dosing somebody.
I think, just wanted to dose.
What he's using is a broad analysis. He's using force to prevent those that don't want that. Are people that are drinking drinks not wanting Mickeys in their drinks?
If that's the way he's asking the question, no, hold on. That's not the question he's asking. Yes, it should be illegal to sneak drugs into people.
Yeah, if that's the question on the panel.
No, but that's not what he's asking. Martae,
are you going to enforce people not using that?
Let me clarify. What he's saying is, if we vote to allow drugs, so allow it aren't. It's like we're just allowing drugs. We're not forcing drugs. We're not forcing everyone to take drugs. You know what I mean? But like this whole aspect, he's like, would you use police? It would mean that the people that want to make drugs illegal again are then would have to be using force if the police are getting involved.
The question is extremely broad, by the way. It's broad, but not too broad.
Is. I don't understand.
If you're
Let me answer it both ways.
People that don't want to do these drugs, would you enforce people not admitting these drugs to people that don't want them, or anything across the board?
Yes.
If you're saying people that
hold on, Martae, let me answer it both ways. Yes, I would support laws and violence to enforce them so that somebody cannot sneak somebody else's drugs. I don't want anybody to be forced to do drugs. It's crazy.
If that's
not what he's asking, because he's not a retard.
You want the enforcement on one side, but on the other.
Dude, you're a moron.
You're a moron.
That's crazy.
You're either a moron or you're a liar. I'm not sure which.
No, just being straight up with you. Logic's not really logicking right now when it comes to this. Because when you use enforcement where it suits you,
I am supporting people not harming other people. If you sneak drugs to somebody they don't want, that's harm.
But here's the thing, Powder Dusty. When I talked about regulations, I'm talking about safety. We are enforcing it when it comes to safety, regardless. And that's my whole point.
Do you think it's less safe to get high at home than it is to have dudes with guns kick your door in?
Now this is a red herring. Let's stay on the topic.
It's if I said it was a red herring.
Stay on the topic. When I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about people kicking indoors. I'm talking about people not using this drug. So when I'm talking
about kicking indoors, this is not a thing in a vacuum.
When I'm talking about regulation, when I'm talking about regulation,
about increasing danger supposedly in the surface of safety. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Joe, you're just going to co-sign everything, right?
No,
Sorry,
that was my argument. I used
that's
the
what you do with
same word. No, you remember I said if you rob the home, you rob the man, you make him lose his job. That was the same argument I said.
Get the
Wait,
pom
but
pom.
Flo, can you clear something up? If they said that they were going to legalize drug use, but if they said, look, you're going to be able to use drugs, you're going to be able to buy drugs legally, right? But if we find you getting high, then we're going to arrest you. So you're only allowed to consume drugs.
What?
Yeah, no. Just follow me on this and just explain something. If they say we're going to let you take drugs, right, but only an amount that's going to maintain like you still behaving normally. So if you get high, then that's you abusing it. I assume that you would have a problem with that, right? You'd be like, no, just let me use it how I want to use it, right?
Right.
Okay. Because earlier on when I asked you about like why would you want to consume drugs, you said because you want to get high, correct?
It's because you want the mood altering effect. High isn't always
right. Exactly. Yeah, I understand.
Sugar gets you high.
I understand. But do you understand the fact that most people who consume alcohol, especially like if they're going to be driving afterwards, they're going to consume an allowed amount so that they can still safely drive and pass the breathalyzer test. Sorry?
How's that unique to alcohol? You think a seasoned heroin user can't do enough heroin that?
No, but what I'm saying is when you're making comparisons to like, well, alcohol is the most dangerous drug and it's legal, right? And we should therefore be able to allow to legalize the rest of the drugs. The problem is that people can consume alcohol without the desire to get drunk. People
and that's
just
not
like
unique to alcohol.
Without
not unique to alcohol. That's
no, but you said earlier on you want to get high. You want to get to that mind altering
and
effect.
the reason you consume alcohol is because you want to loosen up. It's not because you love the taste of it.
Some people, some people like the taste of it. Some people consume it because they enjoy the taste. Some people might want to loosen up, but they're not necessarily going to get drunk.
Yeah, but I gave the counter. I gave the counter with some of these things like mushrooms, all that kind of stuff. It's like it makes new connections in the brain. It's like it's literally like mind expanding. You know what I mean?
But
like I gave the example. One sec. I gave the example of like the physicist or the mathematician who wants to buy Adderall so he can go more committed to his work.
Adderall is stronger than meth, by the way.
The point is that when you're making the argument that there's we want to legalize it because there's responsible drug users out there, right? The moment you're getting high, you're saying that mind altering effect. It's
I don't know why you don't understand this. The inebriating abuse effects of a drug scale, and you can build tolerance to them. That's for every drug. Every drug.
Yeah, and when you build a tolerance to them, you need obviously more to get the next high, to get that same high.
Or a different one. I smoke weed, I'll just use a different strain. It works just the same. It's not a matter of more. I just switch up.
If we're talking about something like meth, that's not very inebriating.
The point is that if you're chasing the high, you can't guarantee that you're going to be responsible.
Here's what I'm saying. That distinction that you're giving alcohol is not unique. You have a false distinction there where this is unique to alcohol. It's not.
No.
The other thing is,
distinction is.
Let me finish.
But you made a mistake. You made a mistake in what you said.
How drugs work, motherfucker. You don't need to drag the whole conversation down. The other point is that who cares if I get high? It's not your problem.
It does become your problem when you can't prove that you're a responsible drug user by definition.
How does that become your problem?
Because if you start acting irresponsibly, you're a problem to those around you.
You have no idea if I'm a responsible drug user or not. If I'm getting high,
neither do you. That's the point. When you're taking drugs, neither do you. You can't guarantee that either.
If it does not impact you, it doesn't impact you. If it does impact you, that point of impact.
No, you don't need to get so worked up. We're just having a discussion here, okay? That's what we said, okay? You're not very chill for a drug user. Yeah. The point is that what I'm trying to say is that somebody can consume alcohol somebody might want to consume alcohol just for the social aspect of consuming alcohol without getting drunk, without even loosening up.
Somebody else tab in this. Martae, even you could probably explain to this guy what I'm
like the example I gave Damon is like this guy who he wants to buy Adderall so he can like do like better in terms of physics or like his work or his research or whatever. You know what I
But
mean?
the comparison, the example that you gave, Teriak, and the example that Flo both gave are both people who are chasing it for the purpose of having a mind-altering experience.
So what? Yes, correct.
The difference is that people don't consume alcohol every single time. The intent is not always, I want a mind-altering experience.
First of all,
could just
that's
be,
not
there's always
true.
exceptions
I'm
to the
doing
rule,
it
though.
Sorry?
There are some people who definitely only drink to get drunk, and also the distinction.
Yes, and those are the people who we've deemed are not responsible. Those are the people who we've deemed have a problem. That's what I'm trying to point out to you.
Talk to this guy. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you.
I know you. I get that you're trying to explain it, but you're not really explaining anything. You're just pointing out the fact that anyone who wants to take drugs,
you're saying
is taking it with the intent of having a mind-altering experience.
Because
Therefore, they are not responsible drug users.
The distinction that you're asking about doesn't exist.
In what way doesn't it exist? Explain.
See, and I'm not going any. I've been doing that. I've been doing that.
I'm telling you the difference between alcohol, which you're trying to say is the most dangerous thing.
Have you done drugs?
Yes.
Hard ones.
Yes. Fentanyl.
Did you gain a tolerance?
No, not really.
So you've only done it a few times then?
Well, I ended up going to I had 1.5 milligrams.
But my point is you've never built up tolerance to it. You haven't done it regularly.
Well, I've had it several times, but the thing is that I had it because I had to have it. I had it under legal conditions, and they did have to increase it, but I didn't get to a tolerance where I thought to myself, like,
so
I would want to do this recreationally and feel safe about it.
You don't know what you're talking about when you're pointing out this problem. And I'm telling you that...
Well, I had to have it more than a sedative amount to the point where I got high, and I thought, wow, shit, this is great. This is awesome.
High isn't the same as developing a tolerance. What I'm saying is...
Well, no, but I went from having about 500 micrograms...
Let me explain this to you. If you did fentanyl every day for a month, your tolerance would go up. At some point, you would be able to do some just to not get dope sick.
Yeah, like I said, I went from about 500 micrograms to about 1.5 milligrams. So, yes, in that respect, I built up a tolerance to it. But I wouldn't have said that I built up to a tolerance to it where I thought, like, shit, I need to get to the point where it's dangerous and they need to give me a different drug. Okay? That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Your counter to my argument or the mind altering thing is that it's like, oh, well, like alcohol is because of the taste or whatever. Well, I can counter with you. Give me one example of like someone taking alcohol where it's like actually benefiting their work. They're doing more work. They're more beneficial to society.
Yeah, but my response to that would be the fact that just goes to show you that people aren't taking alcohol to abuse it. You're trying to say like to function. The only time somebody will take it to function is as Flo said, if they're a functional alcoholic.
To enhance their performance, like intellectually.
That would be like, for example, if they suffer from issues like anxiety, and again, like Flo said, that they want to just take it to loosen up so that they can function better, to have more confidence, I guess.
We're talking about hard drugs, not weed.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like this is actually like we're impeding progress here by ruling out drugs for what seems to be no reason. There's been no reason provided why we should rule out drugs.
My only issue is that I agree with what Flo's saying in terms of I don't like big government. I don't want government censoring shit. I don't like them banning shit. The issue with drugs is I would be all for legalizing drugs without any question if we can somehow prove that those people are going to be using it responsibly.
That's not
and if your goal is what? That's not what?
That's not. You can't prove this people. Is that what they do with alcohol?
I could be a responsible drug user for years, and then one day I'm not.
Just like alcohol and everything else.
Hey, Terry, I gotta roll because I gotta eat. I'm starving, bro.
Yeah, no worries.
Time for your next hit, isn't it? You need to time it on. Hey,
Tyler, conversation you wanted to have or what?
Yeah, kind of. I'll hit you if you want to do a one-on-one. I'll still hit you up about it. But I do appreciate you talking to me.
Yeah, for sure. Just let me. I don't know how you're gonna message me or whatever, but yeah, just we'll figure
email or Discord.
Oh, we're on X. Just hit me up on X and we'll figure out a one-on-one. Yeah, we could do this on your space or mine. It doesn't matter. So,
All right. Hey, be good. Thanks for talking.
all right, Terry,
Easy, man.
Damon, Black Chester Cheetah. I'll talk to you guys later.
Take care, man.
Take it easy, bro.
Guys, I'm sorry. I've got to actually duck as well because I just did like a 15-hour shift, man, and my connection issues
You
are really
goddamn
fucked
better
up.
not leave right now.
Okay, go ahead, man, if you want to. But I know my mic probably sounds fucking horrible.
Yeah,
Your
think
mic
we-
sounds bad, but now that the guy's gone, who I wasn't trying to like really get into it with, you have all the space in the world to wheel and deal with your long ass
Yeah.
analogies.
Yes, we'd be all in agreement otherwise.
And I apologize for being snippy to you. I just woke up like right before I got on here.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
And also I get fired up sometimes, but it's just, it's not personal. And so
That's cool, man. Just take some more drugs. Chill out. It's good.
I need some. Yeah. Maybe if Martae wasn't out here doing his job.
True.